Hello, guys. Welcome to the Cold North podcast. Today, I'm joined by another very special guest. This is one of my good friends, Chris, from the band H.E.R.O. We've known each other for quite a while now. I've actually toured in Japan with him a couple of times. I've done several videos for his band. I also played some bass in his other band called Taboo. So we go quite a bit back. This is nice. So I'm really looking forward to having a chat with my friend I haven't talked to for some months now. So let's get into this. This is Chris from H.E.R.O. Hey, what's up, man? How are you doing?
Hey Jacob, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Looking nice with the blue lighting in your new studio.
Yeah, I was very inspired by your gaming light studio. Also, I had to install the LED thingy all around the studio, and yeah, it's working now. So that's nice.
Is everything else working as well?
Well, we just moved to a new house, so everything's definitely not working at the moment because we have to remodel the whole thing. But my studio is up and running, and it's great so far. It's
It looks
always nice to change the location and stuff.
for sure. It looks spacious.
Well, I guess it's not that spacious, but there's enough room to do what I do on a daily basis. So I'm very happy in my little basement
Yeah.
studio.
So you just go down the basement and then you're working.
Definitely, yeah. The biggest concern I have that is that I might, you know, just wake up, put on my sweatpants, and go down in the basement every day from now on. And I'm a little bit concerned about that. I need to step up my game clothing wise as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. I work from home as well. That's the thing about doing that, where you kind of get into your own little swampy thing going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And it's always when people they're like, "So what have you done today?" And I'm like, "Well, nothing. I'm just in the basement."
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're writing new material right now. I saw on an Instagram post from yesterday. How's that going?
Yeah. It's going. I mean, we started writing new stuff just in the beginning of the summer, I think, and then we took a like longer break for the holidays, and I had to move and stuff. So we just met up the other day, started out again writing more stuff, heavier stuff, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
always fun. Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited. It's always it's nice to meet up with the guys and try new things out, and it's a very exciting process at the moment.
So the general direction is again heavier.
For sure. I mean, how can you how can you go lighter? I
It's kind of the wrong direction.
mean, it's when the world looks like this. I mean, there's a war going on, and
Yeah.
it's rainy all summer. How can you do light guitarist? You have to go full on metal, I guess. So that's what we're trying to do. I don't know if we can pull it off, but we are definitely having fun with it.
I'm very much looking forward to listening to some more of that. But let's actually
Yeah.
go big back, actually a lot back. I want to go back
Well,
to your beginnings. So when did you start like getting into more like heavier music? And was there anything like visual that inspired you to delve into that whole new genre back then of heavier stuff?
mm, well, I haven't. When I was younger, I was a teenager. The heaviest stuff that I listened to was the grunge era. I was really into Soundgarden and Nirvana and stuff like that. And I guess that was obviously Metallica as well. But that was, I guess, the most heavy sounding bands I was listening to. And when I grew a little bit older, I started to listen to a lot of pop music. And at some point, when I was a little bit fed up with the pop sound and everything sounding the same, I I was curious to get back to the rock or metal sound, and I really enjoyed how the whole scene had changed. I mean, and nowadays you have bands like Bring Me the Horizon or even Sleep Token or something like that. That it's I don't know if maybe some people would call it metal, but I guess it's just rock nowadays. I mean, the whole thing has changed, and I really enjoy that, and I can hear a lot of similarities in newer bands, and they've been inspired from what I listened to in my teens. So yeah.
It's kind of fun having that perspective when you've been listening to music for like plus 20 or 30 years, how old you ever are, just to see, oh, I know what they're referring to in some of those stuff that maybe like younger generation, newer music listeners haven't really had that kind of perspective yet.
No, no, no. I totally agree. But it's all. I mean, it's also a little bit scary because it means getting like really old. I mean, yeah, I can hear my dad inside myself whenever
Yeah.
it sounds a bit like whatever.
Yeah. And then you're just thinking, oh, you're way off, old man.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But then again, I actually had an experience with a couple of teens. Like I think they're 12, 13, around that, and they wanted to show me that they could play the guitar, and I'm like, okay, play the guitar, and they played "Smells Like Teen Spirit" with Nirvana, and they just discovered that band. So I was like,
Let's go.
you got it, boys.
Yeah.
Got it.
Just go.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. You mentioned Bring Me the Horizon, you mentioned H.E.R.O, and like one of the things about those bands is they have quite an image, pretty drastically different. Where H.E.R.O, they do more like of the whole image where they're like hidden and mysterious and masks and stuff like that. And Bring Me the Horizon just has a very, actually also references back to a lot of like older stuff, actually some hippie stuff also now in their latest videos, but a lot of crazy things going on, a lot of different mashup of genres and styles and blends that doesn't necessarily fit together. Whereas H.E.R.O has more of I would maybe actually call them more of like a grunge-inspired image look, like clothing-wise, if you see that mixed with modern influences. So you can, like, for that kind of thing, you can like see you got that vibe from back then, but in a modern sense. Do you identify with that as well, or is it just completely off the books?
No, totally identify with that. But it's all. I mean, you have to consider it if we suddenly like put on masks or
Yeah,
did
exactly.
something crazy, all our kids and wives would look at us and be like, "No, no, you can't do that. You're too."
uh,
Yeah.
so that speaking of like, let's go into the whole Japan thing, because I wanted to speak not so much, but how is it like being in Japan? More like, how is it image-wise Japan compared to Denmark and the West? Like, have you experienced something, or have you something to share about the differences between how they approach the whole image thing there compared to here, especially in like rock and metal?
Yeah. I guess Japanese rock or heavy bands are like really, at least I think they're like really dressed up and stuff like that. They think a lot about the image and how they look on stage, and a lot of them wear makeup or funny clothes or whatever. And when a band like H.E.R.O comes along and we don't necessarily dress up, we just think about how we look and like do a grungy thing, I guess. Then I think it looks really, really different from what they are used to see in Japan. So perhaps maybe they're looking at us coming from Scandinavia, just looking like random Scandinavian dudes,
Mm.
and they're like super dressed up. We're really, really into that. Um, but yeah, you definitely have to think about how you like present yourself differently in Japan. Um, there's this whole culture thing with how you speak, and you need to be polite, and you also have to stand out because there are so many people in Japan and very, very good artists and bands. So I guess for us, we were just lucky, I think, to hit like that spot.
One of the things one of the feedbacks you gave to one of the videos we did together with one of the visuals was, hey, it's a great visualizer, but we need to get the band in there as like somehow. And we ended up putting like a picture of you guys in there and just having the whole video start with that. And I've really been thinking a lot about that, because this is the whole thing about, here it's more, you got a band and that's like Sleep Token, like it's like one identity. You don't really distinguish between the different members of that band at all. But over there, it feels like you kind of need to have like an almost like a character sheet of each person and like their history, and having be able to some people can identify with the lead singer, some people can identify with whatever.
Yeah, I mean, compared to how it works here in the Western world, they definitely need to have the faces shown of every member, and like you said, they're really into like connecting with each of the member in the band, and there's a bunch of people who's like super fans of the drummer, and some people like the bass player or the singer or whatever. They just need the whole, identification of the band more than just like a logo or a mask or anything. So yeah.
So how do you
see that? It's very. I think it's very similar to the whole Pokemon thing. Like, it's really, really, clear that this is Pikachu and this is whatever they're called. And people can identify with that and become fans of each individual.
Yeah, characters. Yeah.
Yeah.
So has it had any influence on you when you talk about your visuals and your image and like going forward? Have you like changed compared to what you would otherwise have done, you think? Or is that just like an extra thing?
It's definitely something that we think about, because we know that we have a lot of listeners and record buyers in Japan, and we take the feedback from our label in Japan seriously. It's always like a bargain, you have to like give and take a little, but we know that they always say we need to see you, Chris, and we need to see a shot of Andy on the drums and Johan on the bass. So it's definitely something that we think about, but I don't think we've ever like 100% put away our own idea and did the whole Japan thing instead.
So we're not going to see you in eyeliner and a big Kiss costume and stuff like that.
I wore eyeliner on the festival we played.
Yeah. How was that?
That was super sick. It was our first like headline festival in Japan, so we played in front of 13,000 people, I think, and there were like 90% of the people knew our songs and they had our merchandise on and sang along and stuff. So that was definitely one for the books, and I'm praying that we get to do it again soon.
I wonder if I would think you do. The whole approach you did for that show was also having a lot more visuals on stage, because it's not something you've done a lot here in Denmark.
No.
Can you tell us a bit about that whole production you brought along to that show?
Actually, when we got the tech specs for the festival, it said that there was like a big screen behind us instead of like a normal backdrop. So it was very, very natural for us to think that you have done such amazing like music videos for us, that we might as well bring that along and have that run in the background, and instead of just a backdrop with our name on it. And it just like one thing led to another, and then suddenly our lighting engineer, Kent Cox, as you know, he did like, I think we played 11 songs or something, and he did like 11 small videos.
Sick.
So he and he controlled it all by the lightning desk and stuff. So that looked absolutely sick. It was there are some points in the concert where I didn't sing and just had the time to turn around and actually look at the but that was pretty awesome. Yeah.
Just standing there thinking, this is kind of sick.
Yeah. That was quite amazing.
How long did it take you like to take that whole experience in afterwards?
Um,
Are you still doing that?
Yep. Yeah, in a way. I mean, when you've been in Japan with H.E.R.O as well, and when you're
Yeah,
there, it's thing happens so fast, and
yeah.
always things that you need to do in an interview and a picture and whatever. And it was the same this time around. So there are definitely still things from that trip that I'm still processing, and there's a lot of stuff that still brings a smile to my face, and I guess that's why we keep on writing music, because it's experiences like that that kind of gives the whole band thing something to grow on, I guess.
What I like about incorporating visuals as you did there is when you do an album, you have artwork for like a cover, for singles, you have visuals for music videos, maybe something it's like a visualizer or like performance video or whatever. And then when it comes to the live show, there's not necessarily anything that translates over to all that art you've done there. So doing it like that, I really like personally seeing because it like gives me a whole package of the band. So
Yeah.
and you have a lot of like speaking of the artwork you've done, you have a lot of icons, I would say, and symbols in the general direction of your artwork. You use like a lot of animals, like tiger, birds, antelopes, leopards, but always in some kind of I wouldn't say twisted, but more like graphic way.
Mm.
And that whole idea of using animals and icons and symbols like that, it kind of translates a bit, by the Japanese talking about having something that you can think about when the band, it was this tiger or whatever. But
Yeah.
where did this come from, this whole idea of using animals and icons like that?
Uh, who knows, really?
Who knows?
Maybe we're just big fans of different animals. I don't know. We maybe go a lot to the zoo or anything.
Are there any like,
I mean, maybe
because
we just picked like a shitty name and needed to come up with like Randy instead. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Um,
But it's kind of the red thread that you got going. And maybe it's one of those things where you're like, you just have a taste, you know what you feel is cool, and when you see stuff like that, you just naturally, oh, this looks sick. You might necessarily not know why you think it's that way, but maybe it's something like just from the inspiration from growing up or general taste or whatever.
I remember when we did the very first single Superpowers, like way back, and there was a graphic designer who said to us that the song reminded him of, like, I can't remember the name, but at least in Denmark there was like a battery with a tiger on it.
Oh,
You bring that energy and whatever. So he did like he did some artwork with that tiger on. And when we took Superpowers and put it on an album, we thought the tiger idea was pretty nice, but we wanted something different than just a picture of that tiger. So we had another guy translate that into to graphic, whatever you would call that type
yeah.
of art. And I guess when you go down that road and pick animals, then you might as well do it on the second album. And twice, then you probably have to do it 3 times, and who knows what happens on the fourth album. But we'll see.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny that thing that where it's like maybe like a random occurrence or a random input from somewhere kind of shapes the whole direction of your imagery.
Yeah, and that's why it's really, really healthy to work with a lot of different people,
Mm.
because you can sometimes get really, really stuck in your music and how you see yourself and stuff like that. But when you have a team around you or a lot of colleagues or whatever who all give you their opinion, then you get a much bigger view of what your music are actually translating into in other people. So that's I guess that's why we picked the animals. So
That sounds like a natural like progression of it. Speaking of that, working with artists, because my feeling of working with you guys is that you put a lot of trust into me, and do what you think is cool. Let's just check it out, and but you got free hands, like mostly free hands, and That whole approach, like, is can you talk a bit about that and your general approach of working as a band with other artists and having your own input?
I mean, we always, or I guess we all do, is whenever you approach a guy, for example, like you, and be like, "Do you want to play the bass?" It's obviously because we've done our homework before asking you, so we already know what you can bring to the music. So when we trust another person to join the band in some way, we always expect in a way that they are doing exactly what we want them to do, because it's them we want on the song or in the band or whatever. So
Mm.
for example, when you join on the bass, it's like we know how you play, and we know that you can play these songs correctly, but we want to hear these songs with you playing them like
Ah,
you.
yeah, yeah. I was actually thinking more like of the imagery and artwork and stuff like that. Music
Oh.
videos, like collaborating with like music video directors or artwork
Mm.
designers. But thank you. That is also that is from that perspective of music. That's definitely also you have like the same approach, whether it's having musicians join you, lighting technicians, like stuff people to do like image. Like you really trust other people in that whole process.
Yeah, I think it's about when you trust other people and you bring other people along, then you're basically doing it because you think that these guys are better at doing what they do than you are yourself.
Mm.
So who it's to tell the lightning guy how the light should be? I could definitely tell my ideas of what what the vibe are and stuff like that, but I know that he is better at his job than I am. And that goes with music videos or visuals or whatever. Always want to work with people who are better than yourself
Yeah.
in some.
But what is like what I'm thinking a lot about is today you can't really negate the whole visual side of music. It's like a huge part of it because it's like the whole thing that can elevate your music to another level, having something visually that dynamically fits the vibe and so forth. So when you're writing songs right now, as you're doing right now, do you think about the visuals in like any sense as you're writing, or is that really just like an afterthought, or after you heard the music, like what kind of direction it is?
No, I think writing music is more than just sounds and melodies. It's always for me at least is always like a vibe and maybe something you've seen or a state of mind in some way, and that can also when you translate all the things you have in your head to a guitar riff or a chorus or something, it obviously leads to something visual as well. So so when working with a guy like you on the music video side, it's funny to hear what you think, and very often it's very in line of what we've kind of saw when we
Yeah,
wrote the music.
yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of lyrics when you're writing, because you've delved into a lot more personal subjects on the latest record, and in general, like your writing seems to be becoming a lot more personal as I've heard your songs develop. And there's a thing about having to interpretate lyrics with like a story or like something like kind of very like literal in like a literal sense versus like more of a broad visual artistic creative sense. Do you understand what I'm meaning? So
Yeah.
do you feel like is that like is that something you want to do later on, having like more literal sense of this is what the lyrics is about, or do you want to leave it more up to interpretation? Because most of your videos have been like more performance-based videos compared to like a narrative. You did one way back, can't remember, were you on the roof
Oh yeah.
with a story?
Full Fade song.
Yeah, from the EP,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. But I guess that I don't know if that story in that video was actually in line of what the lyrics was about,
Okay.
but yeah, like to answer your question, I think definitely it could be fun to do something visually that is close to what the lyrics is about. But then again, I don't. I don't like, to kiss and tell in a way. I like
Yeah.
the interpretation as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be, for example, the latest record is a lot about my childhood and my relationship with my parents early on, and it would be very weird for me to do a music video with my parents in it.
Oh yeah, okay. That was way
You know,
way more literal than I was thinking.
yeah, yeah. But it's that like that
Yeah.
everyone who listens to the music can translate the lyrics and the visuals into
Yeah.
something that whatever they wanted to in their life.
Yeah, because you have a kind of feeling associated with those songs and the lyrics, and I just think it would be interesting to see that in Hero a bit more. Having that more kind of uh, what's the kind of feeling you want us to feel? Because there's a lot of emotion in your music, a lot of heaviness, which what really is what makes Hero such a great band for me is that you bring along those really like emotional soaring vocals along with some heavy music, and that's kind of unique for me in like a Danish band that does it like that kind of way, but and with a lot of pop sensibility. So I was thinking like, oh, that would be sick to like see that more kind of this is a bit more descriptive, story driven, maybe something like that in the visual side of it.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't really thought about that, but I
Mm.
mean, probably gonna do the next videos
I,
anyway. So right.
I'm writing ideas stuff.
Yeah.
I'm beginning now. No, that's sick. So how do you work together with Andy and Johan like on the visuals? Like, are you all in on the boat, or is it like one of you guys that are more like the one taking like this is like the direction, guys? What do you think?
Um, I guess Andy and I are the ones that have like the the um, the main say, or perhaps the ideas and stuff. I know Andy is a lot into if it looks cool and how the angles and stuff. So I guess it's Andy and I who are really most invested in that, and Johan is the one that takes a look on the final thing and be like, nah, or yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because he's doing some commercial work as well, right?
I don't. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He does some acting and has been in some commercials and stuff. And I know he worked at a PR agency for a while. I don't know. I don't think he does that anymore though.
No, okay.
He moved to Sweden, so we haven't spoken in a while. So yeah, whatever happens in his life, I don't know.
No, okay, great. So it's more about the music.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Chris, it's been amazing to talk to you for the past 30 minutes and just picking your brain about some stuff that I've been going around and thinking about on my own. And I hope you guys enjoyed the episode as well. Thank you so much for being with me, Chris.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.